Kaider Escalona admits there is no long-term strategy behind his decision to leave an emergency migrant relief center in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and spend Monday night at the encampment in front of the Watson Hotel on West 57th Street in Midtown Manhattan.
A lot of us could lose our jobs.
Refusing the city's transfer, he says, boils down to dollars and what makes sense.
It's almost an hour and a half on the subway from there to here.
The city is currently in the process of transferring several dozen single migrant men from the Watson Hotel in order to make room for migrant families with children. But after arriving at the Red Hook facility, Kaider and several dozen other migrant men changed their minds and returned to the Watson Sunday night, citing its isolation, distance from their jobs, and the drastically different living conditions. That facility features rows of cots set up in a communal setting. But after the men were refused re-entry at the Watson, they then decided to set up camp on the sidewalk, pleading to the city for another housing alternative.
We do need to have hotels for families because they can't stay in congregate settings.
Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine says he is also concerned the migrant men might face isolation in Red Hook, but he warns Manhattan is simply running out of available hotels.
We had 56 million visitors last year. This isn't like the days of COVID when 80% of hotels were empty.
City officials tell Pix 11 News the Adams administration spent $366 million on the migrant crisis in the second half of last year. They add the roster of 81 hotels increases several times a week.
That the issue here is not actually a lack of funding or a lack of resources.
Migrant advocate Luna Gray of South Bronx Mutual Aid says there has to be a way to find more practical housing solutions for migrants who want to live safely and work hard.
There's no such thing as a rock and a hard place when you run New York City's budget. The size is a quite big hammer to break any rock.
There's clearly another side to this story, namely people who would look and listen at what's happening and say, well, the migrants should be grateful for any opportunity they have to stay here in the city, regardless of the location. The young man who you heard from in the piece, he told us off camera, he's absolutely grateful for being allowed to stay here in the New York City. He just wishes that the city administration would make it logistically easier for him to get on his feet and continue to work. The story is going to continue to play out, and there's no word on how long these migrants are going to be allowed to stay here in front of the Watson Hotel, but they're being told they're not going to be allowed back inside.